what's with the freezing? Okay, keep up. Laptop. Welcome back, everyone. Back. I swear if my phone or watch vibrates, someone's gonna get the boot. So, wow, it's been a hot minute since I just got finished with school last week, obviously Thursday. I'm in my room, by the way. I've done a couple videos in here, but what do we think of the lights? Do we like this setup? Because my brother, is also home during quarantine, and just kidding, I don't care if I get demonetized, because there ain't no monetization, baby. No monetization. Okay, he's also home during quarantine, and he's upstairs, on FaceTime and playing video games, so I have to do this here in the basement, in the dungeon that I live in. Do you like my exposed, metal bar? That's construction-y. Mask for mask. Just kidding. Okay. So I thought today I would just catch you all up on what's been going on. First and foremost, let's address the elephant in the room. I've gained a considerable amount of weight since the last time. I think, at least. So not this semester that I just had, but the semester before, in the fall, I was on probation. If any of you didn't know that, you probably did. So I had to get a certain amount of gradage, GPA gradage, in a couple of classes to keep up in my curriculum for physician assistant school. If I didn't get that grade in these courses, I was going to have to drop down a year. So I said to myself, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna strip away all of my coping mechanisms, and I'm just gonna brute force it and try to get, continue. Well, spoiler alert, that doesn't help. So I gained weight that semester because I stopped going to the gym, and I still had to redo the year. So don't make sacrifices like that. So this semester I was in a new grouping of students, and so I got back into my fitness, my passion for fitness. I joined a gym finally. At the time, since I lost all of my weight and started going to the gym, it was always at my school's gym, which was fine. It was just it's a small private college, so it's not a big gym. So I decided to join a big gym, bought a membership, and then quarantine hit, so that got canceled, and so did my weight loss journey. And so I like to make excuses, and as my therapist says, everyone in quarantine is struggling with weight and mental health and everything, so I'm struggling with them all because I love to juggle it all. And I was also struggling with school. Well, not really. I actually flirted. We'll get to that. Oh my gosh, foreshadowing. Oh wow. So yeah, so at my highest, let's say at my peak of senior high school, I was this much weight. Let's say by the end of my freshman summer, or freshman to sophomore summer, I was here. Baby, after that one semester, I was here, and now we're here. Just for reference, here's what my highest weight ever was. Why did I step on the scale tonight for the first time in all of quarantine? I don't know, because I like to spice up my mental health life, you know how it be. So yeah. But you know what, as we've talked about, weight doesn't mean anything, because, honey, I don't look nearly as fat as I did my senior year, but I still feel disgusting, and I feel like I might be a diabetic now, but that's okay. It's all gonna be okay. So I'm gonna start working out now. I'll find the passion or the motivation to do so eventually. But we'll get back to our weight. It's only pounds I have to lose. Anyway, girl, what the fuck? Anyway, so then it was this semester that we were just in. This semester that we were just in started off good. You know, I had to make all new friends, and I decided to play the role of everyone's friend, which I always play. So it's not anything new. You know, I thought I could rebrand myself. I talked to my advisor. I said, I think I'm gonna be like that cool, you know, hot guy that sits in the back and he's like, fuck all y'all, and then like leaves immediately. I can't do that. I have to be friends with literally everyone. I also started a revolution on mental health in my physician assistant program, but of course that got canceled because of Corona. But anyways, I got a lot done this semester. Finally started, you know, dealing with the administration that I kind of didn't love the most. So I decided to make some strides with that, with the mental health, as I was saying. I did some research on my own in school with questionnaires on mental health, and, you know, of course there's a lot of mental illness in this terrible, very rigorous curriculum, and yeah, so I think that they need to do talks about it and, you know, address it instead of hiding it under the rug. So anyway, then I thrived. Even before quarantine, my grades were definitely better than last year. I think on like 2 quizzes or exams, I did a little bit worse, but it wasn't like anything terribly worse. But then once quarantine struck and I didn't have to sit through all of these professors babble and just read off slides that I can read by myself, because I am able to do that, and, you know, they're insulting all of our intelligences by just sitting there and reading something that we can read on our own. But let's not get into that. I don't want to start drama. This isn't a drama channel. But anyways, I don't know. So I ended up doing really well. Pharmacology, as you may or may not know, is one of my hardest classes, and I ended up my last exam before our cumulative exam. This exam was on, I think I might have did a video on it, allergy medications, your ear, nose, throat medications, and diarrhea, constipation, hemorrhoids, IBS, IBD, medications like that. C. diff, colitis, I think was on there, H. pylori, infections, gastritis, peptic ulcer disease. I got 100. Like, what? I went from, well, by the way, put a pin in it. We're gonna go back to the beginning of my video where I was talking about last semester where I was on probation. I ended up getting all the grades I needed except for one, which is pharmacology. So I had to redo a whole entire year for one class. So now I made pharmacology my badge, and I'm writing that fucking pony right into next semester where I will have to redeem myself, or else they will kick me out of the program. But we don't have to worry about that right now because it's summer, except we do have to worry about it because I'm so sick in the head that I'm already studying for next semester. Because what else is there to do during quarantine other than watch Netflix and rewatch Criminal Minds, which is exactly what I'm doing. So yeah, what else to talk about? I'm in fact still dating Christopher, who you guys all met and loved. We are going on 10 months at the end of this month. I was really excited for our 1-year anniversary to do stuff in New York City and like relive some of the moments that we had together, but during all of this I don't think I'm going to be able to. But you know, we've got a lot of time in the rest of our lives to do that stuff, so I'm not too worried about it. What else? I have reinvigorated my passion for research and doing things on my own. That's why I think I did pretty well this semester in classes, because I did a lot of reading outside of the lecture notes, because I feel like there's a lot of gaps in professors' notes. I like to know every answer. I don't like to know every answer. That makes me sound like, ugh. No, I just like, if I have a question, I want to know, like, oh, you know, what does that have to do with this, or like, blah, blah, blah. I look it up, and then I feel like that helps me get a better understanding. Pathophysiology is like my favorite thing, and it helps me learn a lot, like understanding the disease processes and why things happen. Anyways, I'm talking really quick, really fast. What else? Girlies. If you guys don't know, I'm in a threesome relationship outside of my boyfriend with 2 other ASMR artists. Jingle Jangle ASMR and Whispers Ginger. We have a group chat. This is like, so hold up, put a pause on it. First of all, y'all should be subscribed to them. Clearly you are. They have like thousands upon millions of subscribers, my dear. If you don't follow them, you're uncultured. You're swine, okay? Just kidding. Just go subscribe to them if you're but anyways, in my like teenage fantasy, I would love to be in like a power couple with some iconic girlies. You know, it's like you like watch YouTube in general, right? Because a lot of our generation watched YouTube instead of like necessary TV, I guess, necessarily, whatever. But like you would watch them and you'd be like, oh my god, I wish I was their friend. Like we would totally vibe, you know what I mean? So that actually happened to me. You know, I became friends with Jingle Jangle first, and we hit it off, and she reminds me so much of one of my old best friends. So I just knew we would be compatible, and you know, friends among the stars, or lovers among the stars, you know what I mean? And then I've watched Molly, aka Whispers Ginger, for like the longest time, and always thought that we would vibe because I'm like, she's a sassy bad bitch, and I'm just like that. And sure enough, we do vibe. We have an amazing throuple together. I cannot help myself from grinning from ear to ear every time we chat or go on Molly's live streams. And this kind of transitions into my next thing. We are going to try to do a 3-way live stream via Zoom. So if you guys would be interested in watching that, would probably be non-ASMR. I always do my live streams ASMR, and then I watch Molly's and I'm like, oh, she doesn't do hers ASMR, and I love them. And I'm like, wait, why do I do my live streams ASMR? I shouldn't be doing that. But anyways, if you guys would love to watch that chaotic mess, us reacting to things, you guys could send things in. I think it would be so freaking funny. And I would love to do that with them. It's so funny that me and Molly actually live like so close to each other. And Jingle Jangle lives, you know, out west, and me and Molly live on the East Coast. And Jingle Jangle is planning after this pandemic to come see us, and we are all gonna have a fucking kiki. That's gonna be so much fun. So I have friends. I know, like crazy. Also, do you like this fade? My dad cut my hair, and then I cut the top. So here's me. My dad cut the sides of my hair, and they're doing construction in our bathroom. So I had to shower in theirs, and there's just like theirs, not theirs. Their bathroom is really nice. My dad redid it, so it's like got this nice, like dark, like skinny bricks that are like uneven. So here I am in the shower, hair is fully wet. I have like these nasty ass scissors, and I'm just like, cut it all off. It was, I mean, not cut it all off. So dramatic. Can you believe it? We can. I just cut off a bunch of hair on the top, and I think it looks okay. But should I take a photo? Don't know. So yeah. Right now, my passions are, studying cannabis. I know this is crazy. So I was such a, I think proponent is the opposite of what I'm trying to say. I was such a anti-advocate. No. So the thing was, I never like smoked or ingested cannabis ever in my entire life, and I was so against, not against people doing it, but I was just like, I don't need to do it to have fun. Like, you do you, honey. But it was always like a kind of like, you do you. And then there was an experience, and then I was like, you know, I knew that there was some medical aspects to it, so I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is such an amazing beneficial thing for certain people, like chronic pain. I know it's great for patients who are nauseous, or, you know, the term is anorexic in, anorexia in medical terms, but that just means you don't want to eat, but that's also anorexia nervosa is a disease, so it's interesting to say, oh, when patients are anorexic, but, you know, you immediately think, oh, anorexic, you know, thinking of the terrible stigma against people with eating disorders, but no, it's just talking about people who, don't eat as much due to chemotherapy or other, like, other treatments, like, antiretroviral therapy for AIDS patients. They also can experience decreased appetite, so they have found that cannabis is great for that. Anyway, so I was like, great for them. Like, ta-da, great. And then I had seen a documentary a while ago, or at least a clip from it, where they talked about the history behind the demonization and the stigma against cannabis. Now, if you don't see something, I'm not using a word that starts with M. I'm not even going to put it on the screen, because in my research, I found out that the M word associated with cannabis is actually a derogatory slur that was created in the U.S. against Mexican Americans, because cannabis, actually, I believe, girl, you can fact check me, but I'm sure, I was doing my research. Cannabis was coming up from Mexico into the U.S. during the maybe late 1800s to early 1900s, and this was after the Spanish-American War, or the Mexican-American War. Oof. History and geology and geography, social studies was never my tea, so don't come for me. A war around there, and the awful white nationalists, the administrators of the United States, let's say, didn't create, because the word marijuana is a Mexican Spanish word, and the United States adopted it and used the word marijuana, but they used it as a bad term against Mexican American citizens, saying that they were, demons and terrible, things that our president even says today. So just crazy how times haven't changed. But anyways, so once I found out that it was a slur, I just feel like, what the fuck? I don't know if we should be using that. I don't really think anyone, I've never heard this before, so maybe it's not a really well-known thing, but I just feel like it probably shouldn't be used. So I like to refer to cannabis, which is the genus name for a plant that is native to, I think it's Asia. I'm not really sure. I have it in my notes, of course. But anyway, so that is the genus name, and then the species names that you guys might know of are sativa and indica, and there's a third one, rube something. Again, I'm a terrible student. But anyways, I refer it to the genus name of the plant, cannabis. And, or I refer to it as THC, because I think that the stigma comes, and I notice a lot of this from my mother, who is both my parents are pretty conservative, but as having two gay sons, you kind of, liberalize yourself, or you're forced to liberalize yourself, because some of the things they say aren't okay. And so over time, we hope to teach them, because if we don't teach them, who will? But anyways, my mother is so like, drugs. I mean, she's even scared of me taking, my SSRI, or, what was it? It was albuterol, which is a short-acting beta agonist. Patients with asthma take it as a rescue inhaler. I was prescribed it for exercise-induced asthma, so you can take it as needed before you exercise 15 minutes before. And it's really great to open up the airways for patients who have hyperactive airways that can constrict during exercise. My mom's like, you're gonna get addicted to that. Anyways, so, I grew up with these, these teachings and hearing how my mom is, and she's such a over-anxious person, and that's where I get a lot of it from. So I try over time. I'm only 22, so I'm still learning. I had to homophobic-size myself. Even after coming out as gay, I still had homophobic, tendencies to myself, and it's awful that, I was this way, but, I still learn, but I definitely have made great strides with that, and I'm now taking on this journey of ending the stigma. I ended the stigma, at least in my family and myself. Well, I didn't end it, let's be real, but, I brought it to light, the stigma against mental illness and against any sort of anxiolytic, especially but not limited to alprazolam, which is the generic for Xanax. that's just a whole nother boat, girl. She's got a bad rap right now. I feel bad for her. But, you know, THC also has a terrible rap. But anyways, we were getting... I wonder if I have, like, some sort of, like, ADHD or something that I can never keep on track. But anyway, so I was watching a documentary about how this, plant got demonized in the United States. And, you know, I hadn't even heard about the marijuana situation. But I heard, and I still haven't been able to fact check this. It's something I'm looking into with my research, but cannabis, the plant can be broken down into a lot of different parts, and one of those parts is hemp. So it can be hemp fibers, or I believe hemp root and hemp stalk, which is the plant itself, and hemp seeds. So hemp seeds can be broken down into hemp oil, and hemp oil is actually able to be used as a form of fuel. And I believe in the documentary, and again, I haven't fact-checked this yet, but I think around the same time, this late 1800s, early 1900s, I think it was Rockefeller who was kind of the big oil guy. He actually, I believe, allegedly, we'll use the Wendy Williams, allegedly put money into demonizing cannabis alongside Roosevelt. My brother was telling me to demonize this so that they wouldn't use this as their main form of fuel. And so today we live in a world that is run by oil, crude oil, and that being our fuel, which, as we know now, is running out, and it's a terrible form of fuel, when we could have been using this. And so I just find that very interesting, and there's so many other byproducts made while breaking down the cannabis plant, you know, as I was just talking about the medical aspects of it, which are vast and astronomical and amazing. And there's really no reason why it should be illegal. But I'm not going to do a side point yet. We'll get to it. It's like I get nervous, I'm going to forget it, but we'll get back to it. But there's no reason that it should be, you know, they have this terrible stigma against it, because as far as I know, you can't die from it. And I mean, I'm definitely against any form of inhaled substance. So I think that if you were to consume cannabis or THC or CBD, the oils are great, which my buddy, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Oh my gosh. I think it's another kind of ASMR, maybe Chris. He was just talking about CBD oil, and it's so funny how the simulation works like that. Like, I'm doing all this research, and then he, on his last video, was talking about CBD oil, and I was like, the fuck, what is going on? But anyway, I know a lot of people do CBD oil, so I would rather you, as a patient, as one of my, you know, possible patients someday, consume it orally. I know that you don't feel the effects as quickly, but I think it's safer for your body, especially your lungs. So, putting a pin in there, we'll go back to that story before. So, I had this revelation the other day, and I just, like, I wasn't on THC, if you're wondering. Not that, see, there I am going into the stigma, bitch. See, I'm learning. But anyways, this was a sober thought. I thought to myself, we are so against nicotine and smoking cigarettes. I mean, you know, you hear our grandparents say, oh my gosh, we used to smoke on flights, you know, there would be a whole smoking section. People used to smoke. We used to smoke. And then I thought to myself, wouldn't that be crazy if that was alcohol one day? And I understand the prohibition happened, but just sit down. Alright, buckle back up. What I'm really referring to is smoking is no different than drinking alcohol. There's the thesis. Sit down. Put your fingers back into gear before you type anything, and I'll explain myself. I don't like smoking, absolutely. Please do not inhale any substances, but people do it because it is a drug, because it is addictive. Of course, nicotine is actually an addictant itself, but people can have portions of it get into your brain and you feel the physiological effects there. You feel it all over your body, actually. But we are drinking amounts more than our liver can take. And I got onto this topic because when I was doing my lecture on the liver, I was reading about the normal amounts of alcohol that patients, male and female, should be consuming on a day-to-day basis and a weekly basis. And I would say, I overdo it. I overdo it, period. The amounts that they are saying are so minuscule. They say like you should be having one, and I did a whole post on my Facebook about this, so maybe I'll insert a PDF, into my description if you're interested. But it's shocking, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be drinking alcohol because we've already tried that, but I think that there's a possibility that someday we will get to a point where we realize that the health risks and the detriments of drinking alcohol might be too much, that there are a lot of people dying from liver disease and cirrhosis every single day, and that's not good, that when this is clearly a preventable disease. And so I had like a vision of like, what if someday our kids are like, you used to be able to drink on planes, you used to be able to drink in restaurants or whatever, but I don't think it'll ever go away. I just think it'll be more like a cigarette thing where it's not illegal to smoke. You have to be a certain age, but the stigma really against it is so high. The social aspect of it is such a negative outlook on it that people don't do it. And so I'm interested to see how the world works. Of course, I don't think they know of any really chronic effects of THC, or the many other cannabinoids cannabinoids that the body can work with. We don't really research it yet. So there's that. Going back to my whole cannabis story, I just will say this. I'm obviously not asking you to ingest cannabis. No. But while doing research, there are receptors all throughout our body. CB1 and CB2. Cannabis receptor 1 and cannabis receptor 2. And along with several other receptors, we call it the endocannabinoid system. So endo means it's like from within. So our body actually makes chemicals, two specifically. I don't know the name. One is arachidinol or something, and the other one is 2 or AG2 or 2AG, that bind to these receptors. So we have actually what's called endocannabinoids. So endocannabinoids are these chemicals that our bodies make that react to the receptors that THC and other phenocannabinoids, I think they're called. See, I kill myself. Wait, hold on. I think they're called phenocannabinoids. No. Endocannabinoid versus phyto. That I should have known. Phyto. So, endocannabinoids, as I was saying, are cannabinoids, which is a chemical that our body produces. Phytocannabinoids are the cannabinoids that come from the plant when broken down, and they bind with the same receptors that chemicals that our body creates, interact with. So, some very famous phytocannabinoids are THC, which is tetrahydrocannabinol, which actually is delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol. But there's also CBD, which is cannabidiol, and there's a slew of other chemicals that the cannabis plant synthesizes and forms it in, and when we manufacture it, we are able to make it. And there's also synthetic cannabinoids, synthetic cannabinoids. So these are ones that we've made in a lab that are used to treat certain things. Right now, as I said, the indications for them are mainly for patients who are taking chemotherapy or have spastic diseases like multiple sclerosis, which my mom has. It can be used to treat the pain or the spasticity because, as I said, the effects are unreal. It systems, they are theorizing and hypothesizing many different drugs, whether it blocks the cannabinol receptors or, you know, acts on it and pushes it to move more. There are so many different medical uses for the cannabis plant, and that in itself is so vast. But then you have to think about how the cannabis plant with that hemp, those fibers can be used to make clothing. It's a sustainable source of clothing. There's so many, like, I'm not even kidding you. Look into it. Give it an open mind if you are against it, like I was. There's so many things in this world that we just accept. And why do we accept them? Because, you know, as we learn in sociology and psychology, you accept things that your parents teach you. But I ask you to question those norms and those feelings. If you don't have a way to explain it or explain why you're against something, whether that be theology or, you know, any sort of, you know, your political beliefs, make sure you have a backing behind it. Make sure you know. Make sure you're not just going off of what someone else is feeling. And of course, this is coming from a 22-year-old, and I'm still learning. So, but you know, I'm learning every day, and this is what I'm feeling now. Is that I just can't believe how much stuff in my life. Like, I used to think antidepressants were so like, oh my god, and now I am such an advocate for mental health and mental illness awareness and the use of medical medicines to treat these things, because, you know, these aren't things that you have to deal with. They are not normal. I mean, well, girls, see, you gotta watch the terminology. It's normal. Mental illness is normal. You know,